Magister startles, realizing there's a stranger in his midst.
What do you want? You can't just come in here as you please. There's Magisters missing. I'm trying to conduct a bloody investigation. Well, mind your bloody step in future. I've an investigation to carry out, and I don't need any more distractions. Yes, a vile little tinkerer goes by the name of Higba. 3 of my Magisters have gone missing of late from right here in Driftwood. All signs are that Higba is responsible. The fiend's greed gave him away. He was peddling items that belonged to those missing from our ranks. He saw my men before they could seize him and fled. Hardly. By all accounts, he seemed like just another money-grubbing nobody. He must have caught my Magisters unawares. It's the only explanation. No matter, he'll face justice either way. If you catch sight of that dog, tell me or my men at once. Understand? There might even be a reward in it for you.
I'm watching you, stranger. That's Magister business. Keep your nose out of it. If that's all you have to say, you may as well leave me to it then.
The Magister turns to you with a scowl. He already seemed immensely displeased, and your interjection isn't improving his mood.
What?
The Magister glances at you like you're something he just stepped in.
Keep out of it. I'll halve you with my sword if you don't mind your own business. That's what I want to know. Stuck here with those silent things. The new leadership ought to learn to respect its veterans. We're the ones who uphold the rule of law, not white ponches like Raymond and Jonathan.
A sly smile creeps across the Magister's face.
Aye, and sooner than you might think, if the rumours are true. Let's just say, there's other places where I'd be appreciated more than I am in Driftwood.
The Magister loses some of his bluster.
I ain't saying. It's a secret for loyal members of the Divine Order only. Who asked you? You're not even supposed to be down here.
The Magister glances around the cells, before ripping the keys from his belt and casting them aside.
This isn't the Divine Order I signed up for. Not anymore. I'm done.
Where is it? Where is it? Sir, please, have you seen a small burlap pouch lying about?
She looks up at you in surprise. Her great greenish-gold eyes sparkle, and she rubs a palm over her smooth head, seemingly confused.
You'd help me?
Tears star her eyelashes, and she begins to weep. She takes your hand.
I know. What a crybaby I am. It's just, you're so kind. It's been a difficult day. The pouch. I really must find it back, or my master will flay me alive. It had quite a sum inside it. Magister Raymond, he bade me take the coins to purchase supplies for his journey, but I dropped it along the way. He's sure to think I stole it.
She tilts her head back and blinks back tears.
I'd never do such a thing. Never. You're so terribly kind, but I couldn't accept such lavish charity. It's so unbecoming. I don't know what to say. Your kindness is overwhelming.
She accepts the coins, letting her hand linger over yours for the briefest of moments.
You don't know what this means to me. I'll send word to Magister Raymond right away. He should send for me soon enough. Thank you. Thank you.
Occupied! Oh, unholy hells! Do I sound like I'm alright? It's what I get. Bloody tainted stew! Mixed a little, fish into some of my stew. Bloody mackerel must have been tainted. Save me, Lucian!
Well, ain't you a tall drink of tallness? What can I do for you, honey?
She fluffs them and coos.
You're so very, very sweet to notice, honey. Ain't easy keeping him so nice in a dusty town like this. But I do take pride in him. Sure, why not? Not all of them hatch, you know. And between you and me, honey, I don't mind the taste of an omelette now and again. Go on and scoot then, honey.
An elf in tattered red robes shifts through pages of handwritten notes spread across the table.
So many suspects. So many potential culprits. I need to narrow down the list. Think, you damn elf, think.
A floorboard creaks beneath your foot. The elf leaps around abruptly.
What? Why do you sneak up on me? Don't you know how dangerous that is, the way things are? Haven't you heard? My own Magister comrades are vanishing from right here in Driftwood. Whoever's behind it must be stopped. If you hear anything, come to me. 3 Magisters vanished so far, all within Driftwood. My comrades believe some tinkerer named Higba is behind it all, but they're wrong, I'm certain of it. That's what I'm intent on finding out. This tavern is full of scum and degenerates. The true culprit could easily conceal themselves amongst them. I have to keep investigating, keep the pressure up. The culprit will make a mistake eventually. If you see anything suspicious, let me know. You do that. Now away with you.
You have interrupted my newest masterpiece!
The bard clears his throat and gargles on his own saliva. He then returns to his poem, but his voice cracks mid-verse.
Well, never you mind. Every sonnet I compose is a masterpiece, and my muse has been begging me to write something new. Wait! You might be just the stimulus I needed. I shall craft a rhyme for you and your race. All I ask in return is a handful of coins. It's an offer of a lifetime. Magnificent! But if I am to write a first-rate work, you must face some difficult questions. Are you prepared to answer?
He stares at you for a few torturing moments.
Your eyes betray the guilt of the human race. You believe it your right to ravage Rivalon. What say you?
He smiles a crooked smile and runs a hand through his greasy hair.
Ah, arrogance! That most peculiar of human traits, given your lack of cultural accomplishment. Save the towers you erect in worship of greed. What riches do you seek, human? Indeed, you seem almost fearless in your conviction. But I know better. Stripped of their swords and shields, humans are as fragile as flower petals. Admit your cowardice.
The bard hems and haws, then bellows his next words to anyone who might hear.
To all lovers of verse, I bring glorious news. I have completed another modern classic. Listen now, and bask in its resounding refrain. The war drums keep the rhythm of patrol. Humankind establishes control. Sound the horn and shout the battle cry. 'Tis through their might that peace may multiply. Of silver, gold, and diamonds now dispose. With friends and lovers find your true repose. So journey forth and tread the proper trail. And shout to all, the humans must prevail!
He fixes you with a stare, looks you up and down, weighs you up, the cut of your cloth, the weight of your bag. A moment passes. Then a smile creases his face, a smile carefully constructed to look friendly and authentic, a smile that doesn't reach his eyes.
Greetings, my lord. Looking to ease the pain of a decaying world? You're in the right place. Beers are ordered at the bar, but can I interest you in a nourishing bowl of stew? A bold choice, on the face of it, unless you're looking for something a little more tantalizing than a meaty stew and a mildly alcoholic brew.
He raises an eyebrow and gives you a sly look. An elf sways on her chair, her eyes focused on the counter in front of her, where she has 6 glasses in a row. With the nails of 2 fingers, she's pressing red welts into her forearm. She slides one of the drinks towards you, her head bobbling heavily on her neck as she nods at the sparkling ale.
And that's nothing like a glass of the good stuff to smudge everything into a pretty shape.
She slides another glass of ale toward you. Its contents sparkle in the dim bar light.
Bottoms up. Ah, it's a sad story about a lover who left me out cold. Name's mind your business. Cheers to you, me, and
Her gaze swivels around the room.
Damien's dull knife. This place is horrible. Never mind. Cheers to you, me, and me again. Another. Psh, give me one good reason.
She dumps a heavy arm around your shoulder and pulls you in close, her breath hot and sour in your face.
Look it. Look at this. This is my story.
She shows you the 2 swollen, angry red welts on the underside of her arm. She slaps them without finesse, making herself wince, and stares at you intensely.
I know how to make it better. I can fix it, all of it. I'll tell you.
She jerks her arm away from you and gazes lovingly at the welts. She doesn't look up as she speaks.
There's this woman. I'm not crazy. And if she kisses you, she can change you. She's downstairs. And now I'm different. It's in her lips. It's in the magic. I changed the right way. And then, I think now I'll be fine. You understand how, sometimes you just want to be fine. Well, what? I need to go. Thanks for drinking with me. So, till next time.
Ah, finally. Your colleague over there is absolutely useless. I'll have a bowl of the house stew, if you please.
Oh, pity. I've been trying to get a little something to eat all day. But the giggleheads who run this establishment don't seem to be willing to provide a fellow with his fair portion.
After all I've been through, too.
He lowers his gaze, then looks up at you expectantly. His lip trembles dramatically.
It's my mentor. My dear mentor. He was killed by those void beasts. I told him we ought not to travel in the hills, but would he listen? No. Now here I sit, my closest companion gone, our precious cargo worth more than Lucian's right ring, lost to the beast-infested wilds. And the waiter won't even bring me any stew. Ah, then perhaps my luck has changed. Yes, perhaps this awful business might soon be behind me. Tell me, how are you with, Voidwoken? Ah, terrific news. Then what I ask will be little more than a trifling. My mentor, Liam, and I were hauling in a goodly number of fine wares from the Southlands when we crossed paths with a great brute of a Voidwoken. It made short work of Liam, may the gods rest his soul. I managed to escape, but my precious cargo was left behind. We'd invested our entire livelihood in those wares. I'll do anything to get them back. Very, very well, that's how. That cargo is worth more than a pretty penny, and I'll owe its retrieval to you and you alone. Now, give me your map. I'll show you just where to look. I doubt those beasts out there have any use of such a cargo. I can't tell you how thoroughly you've made my day. Good luck.
She nods an uninterested greeting.
Here for the fight? This is a tavern. People are drinking. Eventually there'll be a fight. You planning on starting one? Buy me a drink and I'll think about it. Cheers. Later then.
The cook acknowledges you with a small bow, an oddly formal gesture given the surroundings.
Please, sir, you should not be back here. It's not safe. Sharp knives, boiling liquids, short tempers. Don't underestimate the dangers here. Now, please, I must insist. You should speak to Loverick if you want food.
The spirit of a magister stares dumbly at her translucent hand, the fingers of which have been sheared off.
My ring! Where's my ring?
The spirit pivots her wrist, staring at the fingerless hand, utterly, morbidly entranced.
I should have been more careful. She hacked at my sword hand first. I couldn't defend myself.
The spirit stares, absorbing your question. Finally, she points her fingerless hand towards the kitchen. The spirit's lips part, trying to form an answer, but it doesn't come. She forlornly stares at you, unable to find the words. The spirit looks at you with the smallest flicker of realization.
I was still alive when she started cutting pieces off me. She wanted me to feel it. All of it.
The spirit inclines her head towards the kitchen. The spirit ponders your question and seems to shiver.
Oh, in many places. I feel my body in 100 moving graves, warm and wet.
Please, I must insist you keep out of my kitchens. It's not safe for you to wander about like this.
She grabs the ring and glares at you, like a rattlesnake observing its next live meal.
You should have just kept out of this.
She gives you a defiant look.
Magisters are a blight. They deserve worse than the death I gave them. I wouldn't taint the earth with their carcasses. Better that they vanish into unsuspecting stomachs.
The cook shakes her head ruefully.
You should have just forgotten about all of this.
Same as before, the spirit remains locked in a shocked trance.
The ring. It was right here, on my finger.
Something shakes the Magister's ghost from her stupor. Her gaze falls on the ring and brightens.
My ring.
Your words take a long moment to sink in, like they're being translated for the netherworld.
Return it. Home to my brethren.
The spirit smiles at you. If it weren't for the circumstances, it'd be almost heartwarming. A weathered woman in a dirty sea captain's tunic babbles breathlessly to herself.
The bell rings a warning and the tide is on the turn, and I without my compass. The ship is in the locker, on the bottom in the rocky shallows, and all are drowned but me. And yet, can you hear? The bell rings on. The bell haunts me yet, and it would drive me mad. Perhaps I am already mad. But I swear I hear the bells. Please, make it stop.
She buries her head in her hands and cries.
Make it stop.
A ghostly seaman stares at the captain, his lip curled in a malevolent grin, his eyes wide with hate, and all the time he rings his bell. He registers your presence. His head swivels towards you.
Spoke to the lady captain, didn't you? I seen you cozying up. Are you her man, or sail you with us? I'm doing my duty here, I am. I'm the lookout, and I'm ringing the bell. Rocks ahead, Captain. There's no lighthouse here. Rocks ahead! Ha 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 ha! and I'm on duty here. There are rocks ahead, and the captain must know it.
He blinks once, twice. A single salty tear drips from one ghostly eye. The bell falls silent. He raises a finger to his temple in salute and fades away. She babbles breathlessly on, barely aware you're there.
My ears are still a-ringing. And I have you to thank for it? Then thank you I surely do. That accursed bell lies with the peacemaker, on the bottom in the rocky shallows. My compass lies there too. The compass surely lies on the bottom, near where the ship was wrecked. Take it with my blessing, if you can find it. My sailing days are done. Let me mark your chart. But you be warned, stay off the wreck itself. Let her lie as a monument to her dead crew, and as testament to my mistake.
Yeah? What do you want? Huh. I want another beer and a bowl of stew. Which of us is more likely to get what they want, do you think? Guess that makes me a sinner. Perhaps you can help us settle an argument. Thatcher here is one of my dearest friends, but she isn't the brightest.
Thatcher grins hello.
Our mate Boris got posted to Fort Joy for consorting with lizards. And Thatcher here still fancies a turn around the park with Loverick's lizard. I say she'd be sleeping with the enemy. What say you?
They look at you expectantly. Thatcher bursts out laughing. Eden goes bright red.
Get lost before I throw you in a cell for disrespecting a magister. 2 magisters. The magisters.
Thatcher doesn't look disrespected. Thatcher looks amused.
Disrespecting one magister's enough. Go on. Get lost.
She turns back to her drink. Weathered and rugged, the man sleeps soundly. He mumbles in his slumber.
There's bad things in the caves. Bad dwarf things.
His eyes flicker open, but he looks like he's still asleep.
Blood and oil do mix, after all.
His eyes open, but he doesn't see you.
The island is ruined and doesn't have a name. Don't go there.
His eyes flick wide open, but he's clearly asleep.
There's no graveyard on the island. Stay away from the graveyard.
His eyes flicker open, but he looks like he's still asleep.
Sawdust and wolves, Mother. Sawdust and wolves.
Startled, he opens his eyes, but he's staring into the distance. He's still asleep.
Arcs for Lucian's Day sounds nice, Mother.
His eyes flick wide open, but he's clearly asleep.
Leave me alone, Mother.
Startled, he opens his eyes, but he's staring into the distance. He's still asleep.
It's mine. Get off.
He goes back to sleep. As you approach the silken-robed noble, Ifan does a double-take and laughs in recognition. He pulls you to one side.
I know this man, and he's not at all what he seems. A moment.
Ifan bounds forward and embraces the man, all effusive greetings. As they part, talking animatedly, the man's beard slips sideways down his face. He's wearing a disguise. Ifan laughs as he straightens the beard. They chatter away for some time, using a guttural cant you struggle to understand. At one point, the man says something and looks over at you intently. Ifan waves his hand and laughs. The man hunkers down and seems to be sketching a rough map on the floor, using an apple, some playing cards, and a fistful of threads pulled up from the carpet. Ifan claps the man on the back and turns to leave.
Well, now we know the way to the sawmill. And we know Roos thinks I'm bringing you there as part of the Godwoken contract.
So, Roost is at a sawmill. Let's pay him a visit, shall we?
She smiles. Her eyes are dark pools brimming with anticipation.
Must be an awful lot of fun toys to be had at a sawmill.
Here now, when one's in a small town, one must expect small town manners, I see. Have you a reason for barging into my room, sir? No harm done, I suppose. Though why I pay good money for these so-called bodyguards is another question entirely. Still, I may as well introduce myself. Baron Levere, at your service. Travels, you say? And why would you assume I'm a traveling man?
He laughs heartily.
Of all things, I wouldn't have thought my boots would give me away, but you're quite right, of course. I am traveling, yes, to Arx. Lucian's Day will be upon us soon, a celebration no man with a heart that is both as pious and mercantile as mine should miss. I go because it is every citizen's duty, our communal obligation to chant the rites of the return and pray for Lucian's divine resurrection. That said, I do have more secular motivations as well. Arx positively overflows with pilgrims during the festival, pilgrims and their purses. As a merchant, it is quite my favorite day of the year. Music to my ears. A happy accident after all, you're barging into my room.
Doesn't this room strike you as eerie? There's a chill in the air, a deeper darkness in the shadows. But, of course, I should hold my tongue and stand guard. All's well as long as my lord's coffers are safe.
I am Baron Levere. I am Baron Levere, not he. Not he. I am Baron Levere. No, an impostor is he, a lone wolf in my own sheep's clothing. Bejeweled is he with a false name. Draped is his back with a false mantle. Bedecked are his cheeks with a false beard. Murderer, thief, impostor, I am Baron Levere. A rival's revenge? Another merchant's madness? Oh, the fever of gold is reason's bane. But it matters no longer what drove them to daggers. It matters who drove them into my flesh. You who hears the laments of the dead, avenge me. Kill the false baron. Give me back my name. Please, avenge me. Ah, looking for another trade? Well, bugger me with a bull's horn. Although, met with his spirit, you say? My. Who's the little mouse that comes a-sniffing out the wolf? Could he be a god-woken? I know, because every lone wolf in the land is looking to sink its teeth into your flesh. His name wouldn't mean anything to you. He's beyond your ken and your claws. You, however, are not beyond mine. You're about to make me very, very rich, little mouse. Richer even than butchered old Baran, whose dead appearance I'm keeping alive. Speaking of keeping up appearances... You men, stand by your master! This ruffian has come to rob me! The impostor is dead. My name is mine once more. You who succors the souls of the dead, I thank you. I am Baron Levere. In the halls, I'll be Baron Levere.
It's a shame, it is.
An absolute shame.
Alexander, slaughtered like a supper lamb. Poor dear.
It ain't right.
It ain't right. Never thought I'd say this. But I hope they round up them sorcerers for good. I ain't needing one sick and a void woken on me.
You said it, Hilka. You're a true patriot.
Well now, how's my favourite Godwoken? An old lone wolf colleague of mine in disguise, Callow. He's hunting Godwoken, but don't worry. I didn't tell him our little secret. Poor fellow'd have an attack of the bloody flux if he knew what was really going on.
Ifan bites his lip and laughs.
That'll be tough for you to say without any teeth. But be my guest. Give it a whirl. Don't worry. I'm not going to hand you in for the bounty. Sure, you could do the very same to me. I think we should know who hunts us and why. Just play it cool. We go in, we get answers, we leave. Nothing more to it than that.
From the glint in his eye and the wicked smile he wears, you can tell he speaks in jest.
All right. It has the potential to get messy. Very messy indeed. But I've got your back if you've got mine. No. No. Heard of? Yes. He's got a lot of pets. I heard he takes them as souvenirs after every contract he fulfills. But I'll be honest with you, I don't ask too many questions about why. I don't, want to know. Let's track down my old pack and find out who's behind the contracts to kill Godwoken. Can't hurt to know who wants us dead.
Ifan claps you on the shoulder and beams at you, affection for you plain in his eyes. He acknowledges your presence with a nod.
What'll it be?
He purses his lips. His fingers drum a pattern on his elbow as he assesses you.
I'll tell you now, you'd better warm your hands before you go upstairs, or your new friend will be very upset.
A lascivious smile spreads across his face. His tongue darts from his mouth to lick the spittle from his lips.
Let me ask you this. Across the world, who is renowned above all others for their exquisite love-making abilities? Exactly. And of your kin, there is one whom I believe to be talented above all of your kind. And for an appropriately sizable sum, I can make the necessary introductions. Well, this is what's available. Take it or leave it. And I suggest you take it. It's better to regret something you did than something you didn't do, am I right?
He holds out his hand. The money vanishes into his apron.
Now, let me ask you this. What flavour of stew do you prefer? Do you like the strong and meaty variety? Or do you prefer it delicate and fragrant, if you get my meaning? Upstairs, on the second floor. His name is Zarat. Pleasure is his business. Enjoy the experience of a lifetime.
He gives you a mischievous grin, then dips his head in salute and turns away. A lizard, tall and beautiful, turns towards you. He fixes you with a sultry look, and when he speaks, it's like listening to honeyed gravel.
I'm so glad you've come. Are you here to water my flowers? I've been so lonely since my man went away to fight the coming war. I need someone to take care of me. You're so masculine, darling. Won't you take care of me? Come on over here, big boy, and I'll tell you.
A mischievous glint appears in the dark of his eye.
What I'm thinking.
Holding your gaze, a shadow of a smile playing on his lips, he reaches for the clasp of his robe. You reach him, and he unfastens it. Then, quite deliberately, he lets it fall.
Oops. Take me.
He smiles, takes you by one manicured hand. With the other, he strokes your cheek, traces a line down your neck to your collarbone and your clothes. Slowly, he undresses you, then takes you to bed. Your world explodes in ecstasy.
Good morning, lovebirds.
Good morning, Gil. Hey, this is my lover. Lover, this is my friend Gil.
Shut it, lover boy.
I'm sorry, darling. It's a setup. You paid for a trip to paradise. Now you're paying for the return journey.
To wit, we're taking all your stuff. If you want it back, you can take it up with Lohar. Reckon that's for you to figure out.
He gives you a pity pout.
I'm sorry, darling, but business is business.
And time is money. So if we're all clear on what's happening here, we'll be leaving with your stuff. We thank you for your cooperation. Be seeing you next time, Z.
Bye, Gil. Oh, look at you, lover. You're like a baby deer who's lost its mum. Are you going to be predictable now and try to kill me? Darling, Gil works for Lohar. Everyone works for Lohar. Your stuff's Lohar's stuff now. Forget it. Think of it as an opportunity to get yourself new stuff.
He smiles.
It was worth it, wasn't it? Now, baby, it's time for you to leave.
He thinks for a moment.
Do I want to go again? Do you know, lover, I do want to go again. Come here.
You fall into each other's arms once more. The world explodes in bliss. He gives you his mischievous grin.
I did promise you the experience of a lifetime. That's not how it works, my friend. You had the time of your life and then you got robbed. Deal with it.
He gives you a look, searching to see if you mean it. Seems to decide that you do.
They have me over a barrel. They do. I don't have a choice. It's hard enough to earn a crust around here, and me and the young'un, we've been starving.
He contrives to look even more pitiful. But then a grin breaks across his face.
Oh, hell, I can't keep a straight face. You're right, there's no young'un. It's an easy way to make a little extra money. But no harm done, eh? Admit it, you had a good time. Lift a finger towards me, and this whole room will rise to my defense.
He looks about him, gulps.
All right. Your gear is downstairs. Talk to Lohar. For the love of gods, don't mention my name. Thank you for your mercy. Now, I'll get back to work, if you don't mind. I'll keep my head down and my nose clean.
He dips his head in acknowledgement and thanks.
Hey up, if it ain't the beast, man. Can't believe you found driftwood. How do you smell the ale over all that rotten fish? Get it?
The unfamiliar dwarf scratches his head nervously, then chuckles again. He doesn't seem sure what to say next.
Hey, shh, keep it low. I don't need magisters crawling up my backside after I just emptied it out.
I'll be quiet as a mouse. You bet. Squeak, squeak, squeak. Now go on down. Effie's Emporium's your bag for sure.
Good to meet you, Governor. What's your poison, then? A sip or a smoke? Aye, so it is. But not just any Druidnay. Oh no. My own special blends. Further down's the arena, see? And the gladiators are always on the lookout for an edge. I give them that edge. You could say that my darling herbs flower in the flesh and blossom in the brain. So, if you're interested, Governor, all you have to do is use your imagination. How can I make you bloom? No problem. In return for a reasonable donation, that is.
Effie digs all kinds of outlandish herbs from out of the depths of many pockets and mixes them with the patience and skill of an alchemist.
Much obliged, Governor. And here's your blend. Just take it to that big beauty of a pipe over there and have a blast.
What do you want? Boss is busy.
Beast strokes his beard for a few seconds, buries his hand inside it, then whips it out again to display his extended middle finger. He marches past, finger still raised, to the chagrin of the gawking guard. The guard shrugs back.
Boss can take care of himself. I'd like to see your friend try that with him. I brought you up from girl to woman, Marla. Like you was my own. This.
He lifts his right arm, showing a white bandage beneath his ribs. A wet red spot shows through.
This ain't the thanks I expected. Who sent you?
The formidable dwarf slams his fist on the side table. You hear a loud crack.
Enough! Do you know they killed Anhar? Do ya? Start talking sense or I'll take that tongue right out of your mouth and fry it for supper.
Beast growls under his breath and slowly reaches for his weapon. Beast thrusts his weapon at his fellow dwarf, who looks first to you, then to Beast. He's surprisingly unfazed by the obvious threat.
Bart, Cade, Get her to talk or bleed her out. She ain't one of mine anymore.
His sneer travels from the restrained dwarf to you.
And you. You're a brave lad waltzing in here now. I know who you are, you know. The beast of the sea. What brings you to this good-for-nothing town?
Operation Downfall, you numbskull, and you'll tell me what you know, or I'll turn your guts inside out and stuff them down your throat.
Disgusting. Well, before you go blood-crazed, you should know the Queen's no friend of mine. Not no more.
He hawks a wad of spit on the floor, then motions to the room around him.
I'm a businessman. I can't say I always keep things on the up and up, but I don't think a rogue pirate's got a lot of room to judge a man for his various trade concerns. And what Justinia's cooking up ain't so good for my bottom line. I don't want to help Justinia. I want to stop her.
Beast considers Lohar's words for a moment, then sheaths his weapon and motions to Lohar to keep talking.
I thought you'd see things my way. Come, make yourself comfortable. We'll have a chat when you're ready. Brave lad, waltzing in here now. I hope for your sake you've got good news for me. Family matter. She's one of mine, acting like her brains are scrambled though. Came after me with a knife. Lucky for me, she caught an old wound. Scar slowed down the knife. So, how'd you make it out of Fort Joy? I've got people. They've got people. People talk. The Magisters never shut up long enough to listen. But me, I love a good story. Here's one I heard lately. A group of strangers landed on the beaches outside town. Meister Seaver's people. You one of her little seekers? Chasing down Godwoken and begging them to save us all? So, what do you want? You're gonna waste my time, we're gonna have trouble. Go on, out with it. Reckon I do. Knowing Seaver, she sent you looking for sorcerers, I bet. I could help you, but last I heard you was working for the Magisters. Big shots at the boats. Now, why in the name of all the hurts would I help a worm like that?
An unpleasant smirk twitches around the corners of his mouth.
Right. I reckon I could help you out, depending on what you can do for me.
He gestures towards the bandage across his side.
Had a bit of family trouble lately. My girl Marla got it in her head to come after me with a short blade. That ain't like Marla. Ain't like her to pull the silent treatment either. Something's going on. And wouldn't you know it, that blade she used wasn't any normal bit of steel. Belonged to another of my people. Guy's name is Mordus. Bit of a loner, but smart as hell. I sent a few guys to go check on him, see if he knew what had got into Marla, but no one can find him. I'd like a word with the guy. Glad you see it that way. No one's seen him in a good few. I've got some people checking out his house near the tavern now, though. Tell them I sent ya, and they'll let you know what they've found. Truth is, they might be glad to see ya. Reckon a sorcerer will have better luck finding one of their own. Well, like I said, Mordus is a special guy. A sorcerer, matter of fact. Maybe even one of the ones Seaver's after. If there's something you want to find out from him, you might want to ask before I have my word with him. Here, you can take this off my hands. More suited to your kind, really. Good luck.
Almost.
Better get out there before Mordus makes it all the way past Arks. All right? Whatever needs doing. Isn't that obvious? That's right. Lost one of my best lads, Anhar. Didn't get Jalia's body back, though. Maybe one of them beasts took her like they did the sorcerers. Well, I reckon that's good news. Poor thing. She'll be back in time. She and Anhar were sweethearts. We will, once the Reds turn down the alarm a bit. They're jumpy as all hell for the moment. Won't do anyone any good to raise a ruckus now. I needed a laugh. Sorry, bub. That's the price of a night with Big Z. I don't make exceptions.